our 29th offering. So I think we can give a round of applause. So we started in 1966, many years ago, and for about 50 years we have been running biennially. So every other year we meet for this feast of friends, fellowship, good chemistry, and of course, you know, we have our day trips and beer flavored jerk chicken and all of that, you know, which I know is why half of you come. So my name is Peter Ruddock, and I am representing, well, I work at the University of Technology, former UWI Mona graduate and employee. But so I'm thankful for the organizing secretary, Reese, to have invited me to be the chair for this morning. But Prof. Reese is my former boss, so you know how that goes. What he says goes. All right, so between January 3 and 6, we're here. And as usual, we're going to have a great time. Some top-notch science will be put on for you. And, you know, I'm just want to introduce the head table as we have here. Our principal, Prof. Denzel Williams, our principal pro vice chancellor. Next to him, we have Professor Hilary Beckles, vice chancellor at the University of the West Indies. In the middle, the rose, among some very thorny thorns, Dr. Donna Minot, who serves as head of department of the chemistry department. And of course, we have Prof. Michael Taylor, who is dean of the Faculty of Science and Technology. And at the end, you have Prof. Reese, Professor Emeritus. And it's just my duty this morning to welcome you and, you know, to wish you, you know, good time, Happy New Year to everybody, good science. And then I'll just turn it over now to Prof. Beckles to give his welcome.
Very good morning, everyone. Morning. I wish you all for this new year. I wish you all good health and peace of mind. I'm not sure if chemists will wish to have a peace of mind, but I wish it for you anyway. It's a tremendous honor and joy for me to welcome you all to this conference. Those of you who have been here before, and I'm sure many of you have participated in this conference over the years, welcome home and welcome back. And those of you who are here for the first time, be assured that this will be your first of many. And hopefully you will constitute that heritage which this conference has established here at UWI. Allow me, colleagues, to recognize the head table also, and to, of course, to thank our Master of Ceremonies, Dr. Ruddock, for his task here this morning, to recognize Principal Williams of the Mona campus, our distinguished principal of this campus, to recognize also the CEO of the American Chemical Society. Where are you? Here online. Special welcome to you, and to Dean Taylor, head of department, Dr. Minot, and of course the legendary Paul Reese. Welcome to all of my colleagues in the faculty and the department. I know that there are colleagues from other campuses of UWI who are participating. Welcome. Those of you who are here for the first time and who might not know much about this university, allow me to say that we are a regional public university. We have 5 campuses scattered across the entire Caribbean, and we are, of course, the leading research university in the Caribbean. I can say that not simply because I'm the Vice Chancellor, but one of the hats I wear is that I'm also the president of the Association of Caribbean Universities, which is an association of 58 universities scattered across the island Caribbeans as well as the continental Caribbean. And as I speak, the Association of Caribbean Universities are organizing a symposium here at Mona tomorrow. This is we are now entering our 76th year as a university. We have just exited a year of celebrating the 75th anniversary of this university. So in fact, I would wish to recognize this conference as the beginning of the launch of our centenary celebrations in 25 years' time. So that when we all here and gathered for the centenary, and you not looking forward to that? When we are all here 25 years hence to celebrate the centenary, we can say that we launched the centenary celebrations with the conference here this morning. I don't have an opportunity often to celebrate publicly this university, but in your presence I will take the opportunity to say that we are very proud of the fact that we are an elite university. We are not an elitist university. We are here to serve the public, and we consider that mandate, serving the public, to be our central responsibility. And we take that very, very seriously. We are here to uplift the people of the Caribbean and send them off into whatever trajectory they will wish to choose. But we are here for everyone. But nonetheless, we believe in the highest standards. We are committed to systems of excellence, not only in our teaching or research or pedagogy, but in all the things that we participate in. And this is why we are ranked the #1 university in the Caribbean. This is why we are ranked in the top 1% of the 2,000 universities in Latin America and the Caribbean. And now we are ranked in the top 3% of an expanding global number of 32,000 universities. When we debuted in our global rankings, we were at 4%, then we went to 1, now 3, because the number keeps expanding and the methodology keeps changing. And this is very significant because what the Times Higher Education has done in the new rankings is not to focus exclusively on the citation of our scholars, but on the economic and social impact of that research. So now with the impact ranking, it changed the numbers considerably. And of course, this is very relevant to us because we have always said that this natural products culture of UWI has had a tremendous impact on the economy. And we know that we can measure impact within this ecosystem because we know how your research has helped to shape private investment, industrial development, and so on. So against all of that background, colleagues, I welcome you here. As I have said, those of you who have been here before, welcome home. And those of you who are here for the first time, I know this will be the first step in a very long journey for each and every one of you. So glorious welcome, and I hope you have some fun in between the chemistry. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Beckles. And we're going to ask Prof. Denzel Williams, who is our principal and pro-vice chancellor, to come and talk about his research.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Initially, when I accepted the invitation to speak, I thought Paul Rees was my friend because I thought it was going to be an easy task. But then he did not tell me that I would speak after the Vice Chancellor. and now the task becomes overwhelming, but I will try to do justice. And so this morning it is really my pleasure to be here. If I do go over time, it means that the chemistry is actually working. So I'm going to make a few comments, a few remarks. It says I should say greetings. Now, I really don't know the difference between greetings and welcome, but I will say these are my greetings, and then I will make a few comments. But on a serious note, colleagues, let me take this opportunity to say thank you to Professor Reese and the Faculty of Science and Technology for inviting me to speak at this very important symposium this morning. I would like to take the opportunity to recognize all the members of faculty and staff and to say happy 2024 to all, and we look forward to a very productive year. But let me also firstly recognize in a more formal way our very distinguished Vice Chancellor, who has the task of leading this university and has done a fine job in bringing us where we are today. So thank you very much, Sir Hilary, and Happy New Year to you as well. Let me also recognize our Dean of the Faculty of Science and Technology, Professor Taylor, who is a legend in his own right, and also doing tremendous work with the faculty, and also our head of department, Dr. Minot Cates, who is really doing tremendous work in chemistry. And as you all heard, the legendary Paul Reese, our general for this morning. Let me also recognize you formally, sir, and recognize our chairman. So this morning, I would really like to just make a few observations and comments on this very important forum, but also our COO for the American Chemical Society, Ms. Garrison, welcome, and thank you so much. Unfortunately, you're really not here to get jerk chicken with bear, but I hope at some point you will be able to come by. But thank you so much for the work that you're doing with our campus and your university as well. So colleagues, 58 years is a long time to be hosting an academic conference, and a conference of this great repute. And therefore, I really want to congratulate the organizers who are behind this 29th meeting this morning. We also want to thank, as I indicated before, the American Chemical Society for their strong support and endorsement of our conference. But most importantly, this conference is really quite timely, as it comes on the heels of our 76th year of operations. Our 76th year of operations as a university is really a time to take stock and look at our competitive environment and decide what space we want to play in as a university. At the time when there is over 30 institutions now offering post-secondary education in Jamaica, coming from only 76 years ago, the question now is, can the 1948 model of access be maintained today? That's a real question that we have to ask ourselves as a university. Can the 1948, one former minister called the social contract that we had in 1948, can that contract be maintained and replicated in 2024? I submit that in a competitive market, UWI has the relevant skills and capabilities to compete not on volume, but for us to differentiate ourselves and compete on quality and innovation. That's the space that we as a university, we as a campus, we now want to play in. We don't want to be all things to all people. We want to be high quality, innovative, and make our offering in that space. And as the Vice Chancellor indicated earlier, we are still the #1 ranked university in the Caribbean and in the top 1% in Latin America, and also in the top 3% globally, based not only on our own impression or our own perception of who we are, but by globally competitive ranking agency, the Times Higher Education, which is indeed one of the most prestigious ranking agencies in the world. What has gotten us there is really our research and innovation. As indicated earlier by Vice Chancellor, when we look at all of the pillars on which we are ranked, consistently, the UWI is ranked in the 95th 95th percentile in terms of research citation consistently since we have entered the ranking over the last half a decade. And this speaks to exactly where our competitive advantage lie as a university. It really is in our research, our innovation. And therefore, we must leverage and build on those strengths if we are to compete in a highly competitive global marketplace as a university. Where we are now, there's still a lot of discussion and contextualization about that social contract and what exactly, as a public university, we ought to be, or we should be. There's one school of thought that we should be a great consultancy for industry and the government sector. There's one school of thought that says we should be a place for enlightenment, for light, liberty, and learning. The question therefore becomes, how do we reconcile both positions in order to ensure that we deal with the big issues of the day as a publicly funded university? And so, those of us who are very familiar with the triple helix model of development, we accept that in the triple helix model, there are various actors. There is the industry, captains, private sector, capital. There is the knowledge sector that deals with the innovation, the enlightenment, and all of that. And then there is the policy-making sector that facilitates all of this. So the real issue is not so much that the knowledge sector must be the judge, jury, and executioner for development. The knowledge sector is literally one node in that helix. So that we face is, how do we, as the knowledge sector, facilitate and integrate with the other nodes in that helix to make sure that development happens. And that is what I call balanced development. So we have a role to play. And our role, let us not forget it, our role is to build human capital. That's our role. We build human capital so human capital can now be used in the other nodes of the helix, in both the industry sector and the government sector, so that we can have the outflow of development happening. That's our role. We should not veer too far from that, because the day we started to veer far from our core role of building globally competitive human capital, we fail to be a university. We fail to be a university if we're starting to get into, building houses and building, all kind of other things and running, a great investment company and stuff like that. We're not a university. That's not what we're here for. So we need to get back to our core business as a university. And so it is very, very important that while there is this raging debate about the role of the academe in the developmental process, we need to bring it back to where exactly in that triple helix node we play and how we integrate in that node with the other players. Because we cannot say we are going to solve every problem for government, every problem for private sector, and they just sit back and watch the academe operate like that. That's not how it works at all. So we have to make sure that we build a partnership, a coalition. It's a coalition for development that we're about. And this university, this campus, is really focusing on getting back to its core operation so that we can do the things that is going to ensure light, liberty, and learning transcend as a university. So we're very happy for this conference today, because this conference is really leading us in that direction, that we are now going to showcase the best in terms of UWI's cutting-edge research and innovation that are not only local, but also global and world-class. Over the next few days, the work of our departments in the Faculty of Science and Technology, our Department of Chemistry, our Natural Product Institutes, and all of these other things will be on show for you to see the tremendous value that the UWI is creating within our society. For example, I'll just pick one out of the hat, Professor Rees, with no bias there, is a randomized picking. But I picked the Natural Product Institute, for example. And recently, we got a very good display detailer of the work that they're doing with mushrooms and the kinds of things that they're trying to do with mushrooms to develop new strains that are going to deal with global health problems. They're also looking at issues to do, Professor Kawa, with cannabis. Yeah? Jamaica is very well known for being high, and we can use it to our advantage, not in a negative way, but in a positive way. We have our Natural Product Institute here that is looking at those kinds of work. So in essence, what I'm saying is that we're using local knowledge to create global solution as a university. So colleagues and friends, over the next few days, I look forward to the deliberations as we look at the outputs from the UWI to generate knowledge, and we can lead to improvement in public policy, new intellectual property, and the advancement of knowledge as we continue to create an academic community that is here to drive light, liberty, and learning. I thank you.
No, no, I have a small mic. Thank you very much, Professor Williams. Um, I don't know, well, I was going to say who's following after you, All right, well, next up we bring greetings from the COO of the American Chemical Society, Miss Latrice Garrison, and I believe she's online.
Good morning, everyone. Can I get a thumbs up to make sure everyone can hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And a happy new year to everyone there. It is indeed a pleasure for me to greet you this morning from Washington, D.C. I would prefer to be there. When I came to the office this morning, it was 27 degrees here. We're expecting snow on Saturday, and we do not have jerk chicken. So many thanks to everyone for making me feel very cold. And but I do appreciate the warm welcome, and I am indeed honored to be asked to serve here and represent the American Chemical Society and to provide greetings this morning. I also like to thank Professor Reese for his warm invitation, as well as Professor Patrick Gordon, who is an active volunteer for the American Chemical Society, and I appreciate his willingness to reach out to ACS and to share with us information about the MONA Symposium and how this event actually aligns with many of the efforts that we do here at the American Chemical Society. And I also want to congratulate UWI. Vice Chancellor, you have an outstanding institution. It was wonderful to hear you run through the impacts that the university has and continues to make and the history of the university, and really to think about how you all are positioning yourselves to ensure that the future generation is prepared, that they are career ready. And Professor Williams, you just mentioned a lot of those things about how we have to be ready to make sure that we are taking a stand and that we are prepared to serve as consultants, if you will, to the chemical industry, to the industry writ large, to government agencies, and to those who may not be as familiar with science. This is something that is extremely important to the American Chemical Society, specifically as you look at our vision, our mission statements, and our core values. And I will highlight the core value of passion for chemistry and the global chemistry enterprise. This is where activities such as the MONA Symposium can help us as an organization, as the entire chemical science enterprise, to think about how do we further our science? How do we better communicate what our science is seeking to do? How and why chemistry is the essential science, how chemistry can and should be leveraged to improve all people's lives, the transforming power of chemistry, and how chemistry is a science that can help to solve many global challenges. As I read through the program for this conference and looking at some of the topics that are going to be covered, especially those around environmental science, those around sustainability, it leads me just to think about how your group, how the individuals there are really helping to advance chemistry and the science as a whole for the betterment of the world. So I congratulate the organizers on putting together a program of this magnitude and a program that's really going to highlight the excellent work that is coming out of the Caribbean. It's important for us to embrace the diversity of talent, skills, and of thought. And this symposium is one that is doing that. So I do applaud you all on that. And those who are participating, I also encourage you to consider submitting your abstracts about the work that you're doing to an ACS meeting, to a NOBA meeting, to an ACES meeting, to a SOCNAS meeting. to many of the other activities that are taking place around the world to ensure that your voice and your research can be heard, because there is great opportunity to share the talent that's coming out of the Caribbean and the science that has been done in this region of the world. For those of you who aren't quite familiar with ACS, I just will share with you our primary goals that are within our ACS strategic plan. When you get the opportunity, I encourage you to go to our website, acs.org, and you'll see why the connection of our wanting to be a partner with the Mona Symposium was very prevalent and, quite frankly, an easy decision to make, because all of that is what's happening within the Mona Symposium is providing information towards solutions for a better world. It's empowering those who are there to be successful. You're definitely supporting excellence in education because you are allowing those to contribute and to share their learnings and their research. And then communicating chemistry's value. I'm sure many of you know that people don't appreciate chemistry as a science. They see the bad in it, but they don't see the good. So you are really communicating what the value is and embracing an inclusive environment that we have within the chemical sciences. So again, the Mona Symposium is in a great alignment with what we do as an organization, which made it very possible for us to serve as a partner. Just to share a little bit of data with you, in the Caribbean, ACS by the numbers, I thought it'd be interesting for me to pull and to see where we stand as an organization and how individuals within the Caribbean are affiliating themselves with ACS. So we do have 20 regular members. We have 15 graduate student members, 4 undergrad student members, 4 emeritus members, and at least 1 retired member, and then 77 community associates. Now, I can't see the room fully, but Patrick had asked you to take an assessment of how many hands go up when I ask who can count themselves within this number on the screen. Thank you so much for being a part of ACS. It's great to see. And Patrick, before you leave, I think you have a little work to do. You can get us a few more of individuals who are there attending the Mona Symposium. So I'll leave that charge with you, and I look forward to an update when I see you in New Orleans for our ACS meeting. But in all seriousness, I do want to thank each of you who are a part of the American Chemical Society and our community. For those who aren't a part and would like to be, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll give you my contact information at the end. This is a great way for you to network, for you to collaborate, for you to learn more about what's happening around the world. This slide here just demonstrates where we have international chemical sciences chapters. So we are growing as an American society serving a global chemical science enterprise. And then drilling down close to home for you all. So within the Caribbean, we do have an ACS student chapter there in Jamaica, and that chapter is one of our most active chapters. And that chapter does a lot of work for us. It's helped to host some of our training festivals for outreach. So I'm very proud of that. It's also has given us a chance to connect with other chapters that are within the Latin American region as well as within the Caribbean. So I do want to thank all the active members of the chapter in Jamaica for helping ACS to grow and to expand in that part of the world. My final slide I'm going to leave is my contact information for you. But before I do close, I just want to leave some key messages that I like to always share with individuals that are attending conferences from a professional development standpoint. And this is really for the early career chemists and the students in the audience. It's actually a privilege and an honor for you to be able to be among world-renowned chemists and scientists, those who have walked in your footsteps, those who have taken those strides to ensure that they're laying the foundation that's providing for you the platform, the opportunity, and the foundation so that you too can be successful, so that one day you are one of the 5 people that are sitting at the head table, so that when Professor Reese decides to retire, there's someone who's there to be in that role and to carry on things such as the Mona Symposium. When the vice chancellor decides to retire, that there's another individual who's ready to take on that position and that role. So I encourage each of you to think about where do you want to be in the future and how are you going to get there? In the process of doing that, think about everyone who's in the room with you. Before you leave UWI at the end of this session, make sure you've connected with at least 3 people who you do not know. Have their contact information, have 2 or 3 questions that you have for them. Carry that information with you. Leverage these individuals as mentors. Leverage these individuals as people who you can come to with any question that you may have that's going to help you to grow, to excel, and to be prepared for the future. The workforce needs you, and we need you to recognize your importance to the world and your importance to chemistry. So I encourage everyone at the conference, please use this opportunity as an excellent networking opportunity. while you're sharing science, think about sharing your story. The way in which you share your story is how we're going to help others to achieve and to be successful and to move ahead. Again, I thank you. It is a pleasure for me to greet you this morning, and I look forward to attending a future Mona Symposium in person. Thank you again.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Garrison, for those wise, sound, and uplifting words. And now I'm going to turn over to Professor Paul Reese to do his announcements. And then after that, I'll rejoin you after the coffee break.
Right. I will just add my good morning and welcome to everyone here. Of course, especially to the visiting participants, but also our local friends as well. Not just from UWI, of course, as you've heard. There are persons from UTech and other places as well. It's good to see the visiting participants physically. We've been talking to each other virtually over the last year or so, and I haven't done the count this time, but usually by the time the meeting starts, about 400 messages, email messages have been shared. The overseas participants, apart from the plenaries, are a bit smaller this year. I mean, this might be the new regime post-COVID, but we're going to have to work very hard to make sure that we attract people back. I do know that a number of people, now that the world has opened up, various conferences are all around, and there was one plenary we were hoping to get who told me that she's going to be in Taiwan this week. So, as I said, we'll have to start earlier and work harder. I certainly want to thank the Vice Chancellor, the Principal, the Chief Operating Officer of the ACS, the Dean, and the Head, not only for their presence, but also for their support. Because without the support that's been provided, this conference would not have been held. He is going to dislike me for saying this, but one of our, let me use the word repeat offenders, is Jim Cook. Right, and he's sitting there. He's said he's lost count of how many meetings he's come to. The number is 24. And there was one missed meeting, and of course we didn't have one in 2022 because of COVID, but he's only missed one since 1974. So that is quite a record. So welcome back, Jim, and please give our greetings to Gloria when you get back. All right. For the registered overseas participants in particular, you are down for the day trip and conference dinner, but please make sure that you speak to the people at the registration desk to indicate whether you're coming or not, because we have to talk to the caterers, etc. The conference photo is tomorrow, right after the morning session. You'll be guided as to where we will meet. There are some schedule changes on Friday. That's due to the absence of one plenary speaker who, because of a medical emergency, had to drop out on the weekend. So we've made some changes just on Friday. So those should have been updated by now. And the last thing is, I would just ask the members of the organizing committee to stand. So if there are any issues, you can speak to any of them. Of course, I'm assuming they're here and not outside running around doing other things. I'm the only one who gets to be at all the talks because my work is mostly done now. Right. So thank you, members of the organizing committee, for all your hard work in putting this together. Right, fine, and thank you. If there are any other announcements, after coffee breaks or before coffee breaks, you'll hear from me or from another member of the committee. Thanks once again for being here.
The coffee break just outside, and it's for 15 minutes. think. So we until 10:45. Okay then. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk after the break.